So now it is that your girl's recording. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this video. I did see this. This was talked about on Twitter earlier today. But JBM Fargo, shout out to you. The very disturbing downfall of Heavenly Controller. Some people may know him, other people may not, to be honest with you. And I think I seen him like one DreamCon, and it was probably either 2021 or 2022. I can't remember which one, but he was definitely there. And then the whole fiasco came about. I'm sure this is probably gonna be talked about in the video. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead. Let's start this up.
You know what? I 100% agree with this statement. In fact, you should be the one to study it. You should write a whole paper on it and have it turned in by the end of class in order to graduate.
No disrespect, but to me, and I'm sure many others, you're just an internet personality. That's all. Not some historical figure, and not the main protagonist, as you may say.
That's what he
this
used
is not
to
a
look
hate
like?
video.
Damn. Well, one thing it is I will say before it is I get into this, money does not change who it is that you already was beforehand, bro. That money shit don't change who it is that you were beforehand. It just makes you more of who it is you already were.
Yo, I just felt like this was a good opportunity to take a look at your career on the internet and see where exactly things went wrong. Basically having a conversation with my viewers that doesn't require much of a response. With all that being said, this is the downfall of Heavenly Controller.
That's why I'm like, when people try to talk to me, I was like, I don't think y'all understand how much I read. I'm smarter than all you niggas. Like, you know, most people have never read a single book. It's like, I literally just do that. Like, even to this day, it's not your fault that you're stupid. You were just misinformed. Because for a lot of people, their foundation of their ego is based on what they know. And so if they find out that the things that they know aren't true, instead of trying to find the truth, they'd rather gravitate to the thing that maintains their ego. People call me a narcissist sometimes, but I just feel like for me, I've always just felt like I just know more than everybody, but it wasn't even like...
That's a very narcissistic thing to say, actually. How you just prove everybody's point by just within one statement right there.
I believed it by default. I would test it, you know what I'm saying? And like I would put it to the test. I would perform the scientific method. And I'm like, okay, if every time I test my intellect against another person,
happy early birthday to you.
I end up agreeing more with my information.
I'm
gonna trust my information more until proven otherwise.
If you've ever interacted with the anime gaming or anime community as a whole, you've probably come across the name Heavenly Controller, a nappy-headed and energetic creator who seemed to have no care in the world about how he was viewed. He just loved three things: video games, anime, and women. A culmination of all these things will ultimately lead to the downward spiral of his reputation. Now, I'm not gonna act like I was an avid viewer of Heavenly.
Jedi, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Arson. I appreciate you, thank you.
I was hardly ever that, but I would see his videos pop up on occasion around 2016, 2017. As he interacted with other creators I watched on a regular, like the late Etika, who he cites as a genuine friend, these interactions would cause me to go down the rabbit hole. And his story is nothing short of controversial. So Heavenly, aka Anthony's story, starts in Long Beach, California, where he was born and raised. Growing up as the only male child of 4, Anthony heavily gravitated to masculine interests. Growing up in a pretty strict home, he gives all the credit to his cousin for introducing him to anime like Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, even Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I did have a cousin that he didn't live very close, but every time he came over, he would always put me onto more stuff. So he put me onto, he was the first person to put me on anime. He put me on a Dragon Ball Z. He had the whole collection in like VHS.
Oh, fire.
And I was like, oh, whoa, this is crazy. Put me on a Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Bleach. And back then, when I was a kid, like when I was like 8, 9, 10, I wasn't allowed to watch Bleach because it was on Adult Swim and they cursed.
In 2012, Heavenly Controller launched his first YouTube channel, which he named to complement his self-declared flawless gaming skills. Just like all beginners, he received little to no views, but he would continue this as a hobby up until he went to college. Around 2016, Heavenly uploaded gameplay videos on a popular anime fighting game that had just been released at the time, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Naruto was the first anime to really stick out to Heavenly, and the relatability of Naruto resonated with him.
But what Actually, what really got me into anime, honestly, was Naruto. For one, it wasn't on like Adult Swim, so I was allowed to watch it. Like from the first episode, I was immediately, it was like, this kid, he had no friends and he would just pull pranks to get people's attention. And I was like, this is literally me.
In some of his gameplay videos, he showcased various character mods, which made for a better overall gaming experience. And to his surprise, his first modding video exploded, getting over 100,000 views. He would see the success and flooded the algorithm with similar content from games like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, laying the foundation for his channel.
I made my first account in 2012. Nobody ever watched. I never expected anybody to care. It was literally just, I was just throwing stuff out. I started modding Naruto Storm 4, and the first video I put out, and at the time I was getting maybe like 50 views, 100 views. Like if I got 1,000 views, I was like, that video went viral to me. So I put out that video, didn't have a lot of subscribers at the time, maybe like 1,500 subscribers or something. And that video got 100,000 views in like 2 days. And so when I saw that happen, I was like, well, if I could do that shit once, I could do that shit again. So I was like, let me reverse engineer why this happened, the science behind it.
The online persona known as Heavily Controller gained more popularity. Anthony would see that carry over into his personal life, with fans of the channel often approaching him to take pictures. Being a college student,
That's who he was with.
into his personal life, with fans of the channel often
Him. I don't remember his name, but I remember seeing him at DreamCon. This nigga stepped on my foot. And I had on some brand new sneakers that day. I almost told this nigga off. I almost told this nigga off. I was just like, I don't know who he is. He's loud. He's obnoxious. And I don't like him because he stepped on my shoes. He immediately stepped on my shoes. We was at like a party or some shit like that. Where all like both of them two was there. I don't remember his name, but I was just like, did he apologize? Yeah, fuck no.
approaching him to take pictures. Being a college student in his early 20s, Heavenly realized how lucrative of a hobby content creation had become and proceeded to take it more seriously.
Even before college, I was making videos. I made my first account in 2012, and nobody ever watched. I never expected anybody to care. It was literally just, I was just throwing stuff out. Right. And then I started modding Naruto Storm 4, and the first video I put out, and at the time I was getting maybe like 50 views, 100 views. Like if I got 1,000 views, I was like, that video went viral to me. Right. And so I put out that video, didn't have a lot of subscribers at the time, maybe like 1,500 subscribers or something. And that video got 100,000 views in like 2 days. And so when I saw that happen, so when I saw that happen, I was like, well, if I could do that shit once, I could do that shit again.
After seeing other creators hop on a reaction wave of the mid-2010s, he then transitioned into reaction content, dropping videos on popular games and anime, as well as TV shows and comics. This change in approach would turn out to be the best risk he ever took, catapulting his money and status in the online world to another level. So much so that even after graduating college with a degree in linguistics, Heavily decided to pursue a full-time career in content creation. Within a year's span, Heavily Controller's channel went from a little over 200,000 subs in March of 2018 to about 500,000 in May of 2019. Around this time period, he ran 4 channels, not being as consistent on some of them, but he would switch gears as he pleased. Heavenly also had a podcast called The Heavenly Podcast, where he brought friends on like Afro Senju and Long Beach Griffey, 2 important creators in his story that I'll get into later on. I think he and Afro, more so Afro, were the first ones I've seen do the highly edited anime intro with trap music in the background, then the whole community followed suit. Just a thought. The newfound fame and wealth comes everything you could ask for and more. As Heavenly's community grew a cult-like following around the 600,000 to 800,000 mark, so did his potential for more opportunities. He collaborated with Viz Media themselves to promote Tokyo Ghoul, and would be recognized by his followers at various conventions like DreamCon, EVO, and Anime Expo.
Well, I'm super used to it now. I feel like I'm completely detached from the whole thing. So like, I just understand it. So like, I'm not gonna feel bad or anything like that. Like I legitimately have like, I'm kind of like media trained myself at this point. I already can tell what kind of person.
That's a terrible thing to say. You can't sit and listen. Media training yourself. We're actually gonna hear this. And we're gonna come back to that exact same thing. Unlike him, I actually was media trained because I went to film school. When you go to film school, you got it, and you're working within like clients and stuff like that. You have to be media trained within that. That's just how it is. You're supposed to do your job. Never say that. Never say you media trained yourself. You can always say like, I learned how to adapt to being a content creator, but you did not go through that level of teaching. We'll come back to this.
Person I'm interacting with, I can tell if someone's nervous. Like a lot of times I ask them, do you want to take a picture? Because a lot of them do, but they don't want to feel like they're imposing on me, but I know that they want one. Because they're starstruck, they suddenly don't know how to use their phone. So I'm just like, all right, do you want me to take it? Like I have a long arm. I just kind of speed run the process. Like I already know all the questions or I know all the conversation points. So I bring them up first to get it out of the way as quickly as possible, especially if there's like 4 or 5 people. I got to run through it all. So I'm just like, oh, boom, 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 boom. So yeah, it's like, I have it down to a science at this point. So yeah, I'm pretty used to it now. Like
content creation allowed him to show his love for anime freely and express himself, because in the time period that he grew up in, it wasn't cool to like anime, so he kept his love for it very low key. He kept this facade up until the women he regularly came into contact with at college would give him compliments on different anime clothing that he would wear. This will be the start of many things in Heavenly's life that changed, all based on a reception from women.
No, when I was in school, it wasn't cool to like anime, so I was low key with it. Like again, when I was in school, all my friends were girls. I just hung out with like 20 girls, and they're just like, oh, haha, whatever. So I'm just kind of there. What really got me in all this stuff is that was the only opportunity where I could actually express myself. This was even why like I was in a lot of sports in school, because all the boys were just wanted to be in sports. So I was in all these sports just to hang out with all the boys. And so, I mean, I became very athletic as a result, but I was never really that into sports. It wasn't until I started making content where like I really started to actually like,
I actually don't know how old he is.
It was meant to be private originally, but then as it became more mainstream, I'm like, okay, I guess it's cool now. Especially once people started coming up and recognizing me. I'm like, oh, so you think this is cool. So then I would just start wearing like, you know, anime graphic tees to school. Not even just guys, like even girls. They go, I like your Naruto shirt. So like that was the thing that I learned. I was like, oh, so y'all all like this shit. Y'all just being low key with it. Now everybody likes it to the point to where it's just being shoved down my throat so much and oversaturated that like now I kind of don't give a shit.
Okay.
Where did it all go wrong? I can't pinpoint the exact moment, as I would have to be there to experience it firsthand, but here are some quote-unquote symptoms of his downfall. There's no denying that lustful desires play a huge role in Heavenly Controller's undoing. Dating back to 2015, we saw signs of someone being what we would call a quote-unquote gooner, or an incel in today's age. Starting with the name of his community, the quote-unquote Thick Squad. I mean, just look at this merch. You couldn't pay me to walk around in this. I don't know how he does it, but Heavenly somehow found a way to shoehorn in some form of sexual undertone or innuendo in almost every aspect of his life and content. From the lewd thumbnails of his videos, which showcase fan-made art of big bosom anime girls, to his weird reactions to female characters, it was easy to guess what his problem was. He is insanely perverted. The man even dropped freaky pictures of anime girls on his Patreon regularly before he stopped using it. And don't ask me how I found this out, I'm really just a federal agent. In January of 2018, while reacting to the addition of the new MyGen 21 to Dragon Ball FighterZ, overcome with lust, he said something downright disgusting that caused me to view him in a different light.
So even though I don't have to prove to you guys that I was one of the first people to get on that Android 21 thickness, because I have videos to prove back as a track record, but we're not even gonna talk about that. I'm perfectly fine with other people trying to steal my waifu, because that just makes me want her even more. That's the thing you gotta do. If you want somebody to want you, go make them jealous by getting with somebody else. And of course, one of the best things about this character from the first time when she was announced in her lab coat, and I made a video on that, and I teased that I would be doing this as well after seeing MyGen 21, is the fan art, because the fan art adds an extra texture to this character that no single game developer could ever do. You've got the lolly versions, the thick versions, the yandere versions, the buff versions, just so many different varieties. It's more than I could ever ask for. You know that I'm dedicated to this character when I commission artwork to be drawn for her. You know what? I'm gonna slap that shit on a shirt. Boom, there it is.
Those who aren't familiar with what lolly is, it's a genre of fictional media which focuses on young or young-looking girl characters, particularly in a sexually suggestive or erotic manner. So you can guess that.
You know, there is a wholehearted reason to why that I don't necessarily be too chummy with people in anime communities. There is a wholehearted reason. At one point in time, people was thinking is I don't watch anime. Knowing damn well it is that I do. But I don't get down with the level of just people gooning like this. And the fact that I am using a Gen Z term is just showing you how pissed off I am. I don't ever use that word. But you get these people it is who are organically weird niggas. I gotta call it for what it is. I'm sorry, I'm calling it for what it is. that are organically weird, a little like, you know what I'm saying? Something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? One of those things, right? You give them a platform and you give them people it is that are like-minded. They get a little bit of money. They get a little bit of like, you know, shine, recognition. Oh, wow, I watch your content. This is and this. I always tell y'all this, like, just because it is that somebody's a streamer or does YouTube or a content creator, they're not all like within the same. We are not all within the same. You got to make sure it is you differentiate yourself from a lot of niggas. You will get thrown into some bullshit that has nothing to do with you whatsoever. People will try to talk in your name. If they can't figure out a way to talk about your business, they'll make some shit up. And then you just got these niggas it is that are wholeheartedly weird that are streamers and content creators. And this is why what I said in the beginning of the video of money, all it does is just amplify the person you already was from the get-go. That's it. That's literally it. That's all it is. You know? Now, all of these characters, these characters here are underage. I've seen plenty of people foam out the mouth for Nezuko. And I'm like, you do know she's 14, right? I see stuff like this all the time. And I'm like, yo, y'all are weird, bro. So not only it is you're perpetuating this, but you're putting, you are commissioning for these characters to be on a t-shirt. Something ain't right.
Being attracted to this form of media in any way, shape, or form.
You said actually she's 12? I thought she was 14. That's even worse.
Inexcusable. I can understand putting on an act for your audience, but this is just going too far. Just look at the pictures in the background, bro.
Even if you was acting, that's still a problem. That's still a problem. I gotta call it for what it is. That's still a problem. Even you acting, that's still weird.
Was 1000% addicted. As far as when exactly this type of gross behavior spilled over into his personal life, no one knows for sure. But according to comments from many of his supporters, it may have all started at the peak of his fame. A lot of these fans who were around from as early as 2017 slowly started to see Heavenly's content change. What started off as just reactions and gaming content turned into convention vlogs with cosplayers and other women sprinkled in. Not saying that this was necessarily a bad change, but it opened the door for everything that could necessarily go wrong to go wrong. Reactions were still there, but fans of him clearly saw the path that he was heading down. This is also around the same time he got into a relationship with a cosplayer turned OF model named Elizabeth Rage, who would show up in his videos from time to time. From the looks of it online, the two had a pretty healthy relationship, but as things unfolded, I realized that you can never truly believe everything that you see online. Elizabeth's profession combined with his level of notoriety provided him access to women who I'm sure he would have never expected to look his way without his clout. Like his seemingly out of the blue friendship with famous adult film star Violet Myers, who appeared in one of his many salacious videos in 2021. Heavenly's interactions with Violet online and in person gave off sort of a I got friend zone but I'm okay with it dynamic. I mean, just look at these screenshots. While I do not think platonic relationships between men and women are necessarily bad, I believe that in certain situations shame must eventually take over because this is sad. Overall, I believe these two relationships did nothing more than feed his already inflated ego. In relation to ego, I've always heard the statement that Heavenly's ego was the biggest cause of his failure, but I've never really figured out what they meant. That was until I went back in time to the start of what I would like to call his main protagonist arc. Yes, Heavenly Controller refers to himself as the main protagonist. I'm not joking. Just check his TikTok bio. But this cringe-inducing persona was years in the making. He dyed his hair, often tweeted about it every day, used it to clap back at naysayers, mentioned it in videos on almost every platform, and even changed his name on Twitter to Crown Leader. What probably started off as a joke or an act for his audience turned into real life as he completely ran with it. Are you aware of the level of narcissism required to develop a brand new sense of self? Just listen to this clip of him speaking how he views people in the world around him.
That's why I'm like, when people try to talk to me, I was like, I don't think y'all understand how much I read. I'm smarter than all you niggas. Like, you know, most people who've never read a single book, it's like, I literally just do that. Like, even to this day, I just read 24/7.
How is it that you can do all this reading, but you can't read social cues on women? Make that make sense. We will come back to that.
So I'm just like, I've consumed so much information that I see outside the matrix. Every person that I meet is just playing out some archetype. They're just playing out some version of a character that I read. So to me, it's just like the whole thing's a game because I see the storyline, you know?
His very nature has led to him getting flamed on Twitter on multiple occasions for how seemingly self-absorbed he behaves. When Etika passed away in the summer of 2019, Heavenly posted a picture of Luffy, the main character of One Piece, being pushed forward to persevere by the spirit of his deceased brother Ace, basically saying that someone said, "This is me and Etika." This was met with lots of scrutiny and deemed as insensitive, leading people to question why he found a way to make Etika's passing about him. This tweet, of course, has since been deleted. Another small instance was the infamously cringe-worthy.
Okay, so Nezuko from Demon Slayer is 12 years old biologically and 14-year-old. Okay, so I wasn't far off.
Picture that Heavenly posted on Twitter, comparing himself to Ken Kaneki, the main character of another anime called Tokyo Ghoul. But it didn't stop there. Heavenly will refer to himself in third person on occasion, saying that he's quote-unquote cosplaying as Heavenly Controller, and constantly brings up being in a harem. A harem is a kind of story in Japanese anime and manga where a male character is surrounded and loved by many female characters. So he likened his famous life of being around many women all the time to that of a main character in an anime. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what I would like to call peak delusion. Just think about how many of these women he probably took a random picture with, not knowing he truly thought of them as additions to his collection.
Right.
I saw a comment under the video used in the intro that perfectly describes how Heavenly and Anthony got to this point. It says, bro immersed himself so deep into the anime culture, he no longer sees anime as entertainment, but as a way of life. He deadass would correlate everything to anime. Based on what I've seen of his content, this is as close to an answer as we will get. On August 18th, 2021, Heavenly Controller faced multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. The initial accusation came from a cosplayer named Kimmy, who claimed that in November of 2019, at the age of 18, she met Heavenly, aka Anthony, who was in his mid-20s at the time. She alleged that prior to their encounter, he pressured her into drinking alcohol and hid behind a wall waiting for her while she was in the bathroom. When she got out, he then made unwanted advances towards her, which included forcibly kissing her. This situation was shared in detail on her Twitter profile and in a lengthy tweet longer titled, "What Happened Between Anthony, Heavenly Controller, and I." I'll link the full tweet longer for you guys to read because it's a lot of supporting information to dissect, and I'll just be briefly going through the important parts. A day later, on August 19th, another woman on Twitter by the name of Emmy Banks accused Heavenly of more inappropriate behavior. In her own tweet longer that has since been deleted, she alleged that Heavenly essayed her while she was asleep and kissed her without consent. This post also says that Heavenly first connected with her on TikTok, and from there they interacted on Twitter. These allegations contributed to a growing discourse on social media regarding Heavenly's misconduct, with the vast majority of everyone going against him. Of these people was none other than his ex-girlfriend Elizabeth Rage, making a tweet saying, "To those coming forward about Heavenly, I see you, I believe you, and I've been you. I'm so sorry it happened to you too." It feels like right after his ex, someone who's been around him or probably was a victim, spoke out. It was the beginning of the end. This is when things got really bad. So bad to the point that Heavenly quickly hopped on stream to defend himself, and it completely backfired. The goal of the stream was to provide transparency and assert his innocence, but it only served to do the opposite of that.
Correct.
Throughout this entire stream, he often stuttered and stumbled over his words, struggling to find the right response to these claims, to the point where he seemed like someone having a hard time coming up with lies on the spot.
I definitely this is so weird talking about this. But like, I don't know, man.
To make things worse,
Buddy, I thought you said it is. You was media trained. Someone in the comments said, "Do a squirt." Niggas is unserious. I thought it is that you said that you was media trained. If you was media trained, for one, you would not be doing this stream. You would not be doing this at a whim without no attorney, nobody to pull your coat, to tell you that, hey, listen, don't do that. Just say this. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. That's it. You know what I mean? Nothing. Those are serious allegations that was being held against you. And somehow or another, he said it is that he was media trained, right?
Heavenly first says that he never tried to kiss Kimmy at all, but a few moments later he says that he might have tried to, but she pushed him away. Sounds like a horrible job at lying if you ask me.
I kept trying to get away from him, but he started to kiss my face. He tried to kiss my mouth, but I pushed him away. I definitely did not, I did not kiss her at all. I did not kiss her at all. no part of, like, I didn't kiss any part of her body, none of that. We were up there for maybe like 5 minutes. I probably did try to kiss her, and then like she like stopped me, and then I stopped. Like I didn't actually, you know, whatever.
There are also 2 instances she mentions about Heavily and his supporters adding Kimmy to his harem, which he denies. This, of course, is not surprising to me.
And he also encouraged the relationship between us and continued to say that I was part of his harem now. None of that is me. That's literally just people leaving dumbass comments. And so I don't know, like, how's that even relevant to anything I've done? I did not tell anybody to do that or whatever. People, they do the same thing to me. Literally every time I post any girl for any reason, they're going to say that. I'm not telling people to say that stuff. From the beginning, Heavenly kept telling people I was joining his harem and that he owned me. Absolutely ridiculous. No, I definitely never said anything like that. That's ridiculous. Not even as a joke. I don't even say that kind of stuff as a joke.
Last but not least, he admits twice to grabbing Kimmy when they were alone, clips that people still use against him to this day.
Anthony was hidden behind a wall outside of the view from the bathroom, snuck in a corner and grabbed me by my waist and held me against his body. Okay, wait. I wasn't hitting any wall. I do remember, so there was a time when I grabbed her when we were alone.
So you admitted it. You literally just admitted it. What?
It wasn't when we left though. It was like, there was a time where we were leaving this club, and it was me and her friend. They dropped me off at my Airbnb. Just me and her go up to my Airbnb to like, I can't remember if I was just being dropped off. Like, cause why did she go up with me? I don't remember. He dropped me off at my Airbnb and then she went up with me. And that's when I did that. Like I did do that. But when we were leaving, I didn't, like no. Bro said in the stream, he grabbed her without consent. I mean, it's like any like grabbed her without her consent. Like what is that? Like it's not like I attacked her. Like I literally like she said I grabbed her waist. I did grab her waist. She said she eventually like.
So you admitted it. You're admitted to it. You're admitting to what it is that the allegations of was against you. You just admitted it.
Like I grabbed her waist and then like we were like that for a minute. And she wasn't like pushing away or anything like that. But then eventually she did, and like that whole instance only like lasted for maybe like we just had like a normal conversation or whatever.
After probably realizing that the stream was a bad idea, he quickly ended it. Following this, Heavenly denied all accusations and said that it was irresponsible to hop on stream to face these allegations without a plan.
All right, first and foremost, to anybody who was indirectly affected by the situation because of their associations with me, I take full responsibility for that, and that was never my intention. And if you choose,
you should have started out with that first. You should have started out with this first. Now I'm remembering the timeline of this. This was right after DreamCon of 2021. This is right afterwards. This was right afterwards. Now that I'm remembering this. Sorry, y'all. My voice is it comes back and then it doesn't at the same time. Bear with me while it is. I'm still battling this flu. But I remember this now. Because I remember this was circulating on Twitter. This was circulating, and I was just like, yo, like, didn't we just see this dude at, like, DreamCon and stuff like that? Like, you know how, like, bad that sounds? Where it's like, you're going to a convention, and then that is associated with a whole bunch of other people, great individuals, and then now, like, that gets associated because of the stupidness it is that you did.
choose to distance yourself from the situation or me because of that, I completely understand. I would and have done the same.
And may I add, chat, it doesn't even have to be DreamCon. This happens at any convention, which is why it is that I'll be kind of cool on going to a lot of these different conventions. This happens all the time. It happens at almost any and every convention. If you're not too careful, you know what I mean? It could happen at any given moment, which is why I'd be like, hey, listen, as much as it is that I'm cool with like gaming, anime, all that other stuff, but I'm cool with it from a distance. You don't really be seeing me at like those parties and stuff like that. I'm cool on that. You know what I mean? If it's stuff with like DreamCon, all right, cool. I'll go to a few. I'll go to the, like, it depends on which ones, to be honest with you. But other than that, you can't be too chummy. Not all the time, gang.
As for any of these allegations of me not abiding by someone's consent, I have not and will not ever do anything like that. That is not in my character. When I did that stream, in my head, I was trying to be honest and try to be transparent because I had nothing to hide. But now I know, because of the advisement of people around me, that that was irresponsible of me, and I was not very concise in what I was saying and literally just throwing words out to be picked apart and scrutinized on the internet, and I should have known better, which is why that video is no longer available, even if people are going to take it and pick it apart, what have you. And I understand that regardless of anything that I say, there's going to be people who have already made up their minds about me, and I fully understand. You know, there's only so much that I can say. All I can do is tell you, speak from the heart, be real with you, the kind of person that I am, the kind of like person, what I'm about, and you can take it or leave it. I'm going to continue with my life and not address this past this point. So that's all I have to say on the matter.
It's funny how you said all this in 2020 about people being predatory at conventions, only for this to happen. You can't make this shit up. Heavenly would drop.
Wait, what was that
being
tweet?
predatory at.
I dare someone to give me an excuse. I see someone pull some predatory shit at an event. I don't care. I get arrested or whatever. You gonna have to fight me. You gonna have to fight my ass, nigga. Well, shit. What's up, BJ?
Conventions, only for this to happen. You can't make this shit up. Heavenly would drop a video the next day on August 20th that was quickly deleted, titled "Please watch the whole video," where he talked in circles about these allegations and talks about his ex-girlfriend being a leech. In this video, he basically confirms what I said earlier and what many of his supporters have said for years. Picking up women he was never able to pull without clout boosted his ego.
People are probably gonna pick apart, take out of context and everything like that. I'm just going with my instincts, and still, even now, I feel like I gotta just be me. I know, like, I've consulted people who are saying, you know, you need to stop responding. They don't care. They don't care how much sense that you make. They don't care how little evidence that all the other girls have. All of this stuff that's happening right now, this is nobody else's fault but mine. Like, I can say that. Like, this is me bringing all my shit, and it's affecting so many other people. So it's to the point to where, at this point, I owe it to my community. The main thing that a lot of people are getting mad at me about, people still, even now, will still disagree with me on this. I understand. I should apologize to these women for the things that I did, right? If these were actual victims, if there's some information that I'm like, oh, wow, wait, you know, that lines up. Shit happens. Like, I'm not saying everyone, like, we're not all predators. We're stupid. We do dumb shit. We're human. We make. Like, I'm not saying everyone, like, we're not all predators. We're stupid. We do dumb shit. We're human. We make mistakes. I'm a human too. I make mistakes. I'm willing to admit to the mistakes, even if it's to make people happy and tell people what they want to hear. I do not care. I'm not going to lie, even if it's to my benefit. Say, oh, I'm sorry to the victims. There are no victims.
Hey, gang, you said you was media trained, right? Yeah, you said you was media trained, right?
My ex, same. She's gonna take advantage of everything like this. She's not gonna have any evidence of anything. She's just gonna say, I stand with you. Well, she does all the time. That's on me. Like, I can admit to, like, I do dumb shit. I'm not acting like I'm this perfect person who just, like, has no flaws, makes no mistakes. Who I'm not, what I never have been, never will be, I'm not no fucking predator, bro. Come on, no. Like, in 2019, I was going to all these cons, and I can lie to myself. I can say, oh, you know, I'm networking, I'm doing all this stuff, but bro, wasn't talking to Elizabeth, and she was going to all these different states, to all these different conventions, and I was getting invited. Like, that was Anime NYC, I was invited as a guest, and we were even on the same fucking booth, which is crazy. But I was getting invited to all these different events, these cons and stuff. Some of them I probably, like, spent more than I needed to go to them, but, like, I was in love with this girl, and I was running around and chasing after her around the whole fucking country. I am bad at flirting. Like, I'm not, for me to even make any, like, physical contact in any manner with somebody, we have to have talked about it beforehand. I don't even care if it lacks grace. I will literally ask, or I will say, I'll have this conversation. I wouldn't know, I'm not good at that. I wouldn't know how to, like, just infer based off of, like, how they're looking at me or whatever. Like, I'm not good at that. Like, I have to ask. I will literally, like a fucking dumbass, I'll be like, hey, do you want to have sex? but like that's just how I am. And me, you know, when I went live in that first instance, I wasn't concise with my words and I'm just saying stuff. I'm just repeating things that I'm reading. People were saying, oh, you admitted to grabbing her. I took her hands and we had a conversation. I did not physically move or impede the movement it wasn't from behind.
Again.
I didn't do any of that. I literally had a moment. We were alone, took her hands, we talked. There was no like, oh, this doesn't make me comfortable, blah, 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 blah. No, it was like, oh, I'm nervous. And then she drank some water or whatever. And then we talked.
So you didn't understand the social cues of that by itself. You're not helping your case even more for what it is you've already done. You've not only you admitted to the fact that you did it again, that you grabbed her, and you know, that's code word. That I'm a woman. I understand that. That's code word for being uncomfortable. Come on. It's code word for you're doing too much. Like, what's up, Janelle? How much more? I mean, literally, if you paid attention to how she was saying it is, oh, I'm nervous and, you know, this is and this, that means it is she's not comfortable with you. Point blank, period. Point blank, period, bro. Don't, oh my God, bro. You're making excuses for something it is that you should have, this video literally should have been a under 5-minute video. I'm gonna keep it 11,010. You doing all this rambling, you doing all this talking, you doing all this yapping, and you're just doubling, quadrupling down on the fact that you was on some weird shit. Like, come on, bro.
It's like, oh, I want to see you later, like maybe tomorrow, whatever. So, oh, okay, that was it. There's so many opinions that people have of me, but I don't like being painted in this way.
This response was truly the nail in the coffin for Heavily Controlled. Around the same time, the DreamCon Twitter account, which is run by RDC World, spoke out against all forms of sexual misconduct.
I remember this tweet. I remember this. DreamCon does not condone sexual harassment, assault, or any form of misconduct from its staff, partners, guests, attendees, nor do we find that to be a joking matter. I remember this.
And permanently banned Heavily and pretty much everyone associated with him from all events moving forward. The situation also drew reactions from Heavily's friends and associates, notably his friend and fellow content creator Long Beach Griffey, who expressed his support for Heavily on Twitter. However, Griffey's comments, particularly his statement, let's hold victims accountable who don't verbally say no, as well as a skit about SA victims, were met with significant backlash from the online community. This one's
gonna hurt me.
And y'all not gonna want to hear it, but let's hold victims accountable that do not verbally tell men no. Let's hold women accountable who do not verbally tell men no. If you lack social cues and you don't pick up on body language, listen, because
we all can admit it was a horrible way of trying to defend this behavior. The mental anguish caused from all of this led to Griffey even breaking down and crying on Twitter Spaces.
He was speaking based on emotions. He didn't know what to fucking do. I don't know what to fucking do, but the only thing I can fucking do in this situation, and it fucking hurts, bro. This shit fucking sucks because I fucking know that man, bro. I fucking know that, bro. I fucking know that man. And this nigga's not a fucking predator. Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all got me fucked up.
Another friend of Heavily, Afro Senju, also gives a stance on the situation. In this video, he perfectly explains how the way Anthony approached women ultimately led to Heavily Controller's downfall.
The one thing that I said, the one fault that he had with all the women that he tried to get with from what it seems on the outside, he didn't try to get with any of these women as Anthony, but as Heavenly. And that is a big problem that even every content creator, like, if you spitting game, my nigga, please disassociate who you are on the internet with who you are offline. Find yourself, please. Please find your fucking self. Just because you got some clout don't mean that you're this shit. If you know you were a lame nigga before this shit, chances are when the facade is taken away, you still a lame nigga.
It's fun.
Speak on it. Speak on it. Because there's a lot. Oh my God, bro. A lot. You'd be surprised what niggas would do to just get a crumb of attention, a crumb of like viewers, or oh, you know this particular person, this is and this. The moment it is that you are somewhat known or on a platform, niggas become friends with you out of nowhere just because it is that you're associated, or they think you're associated with knowing all these other people and stuff like that. When I say it is that doing this streaming stuff comes with a lot of just bullshit that you were not prepared for until it is you're already in it. I'm wholeheartedly saying this, bro. But here's the thing. A lot of people, you got to mix. There's people it is that already knew how to handle this beforehand. And then you had some niggas it is that was weird as fuck beforehand. Get a little bit of clout, a little bit of money. And then they just become even worse of a cornball nigga that they already was. I've seen it. And this is why it is I don't be too chummy with niggas no more. Like, I keep my distance away. It's just like, I'm cool. I'm good. I see how niggas move, and I'm just like, yeah, no. And come on now. When you're sitting there trying to say, like, you're trying to get an heirloom of different women and stuff like that, come on. Sometimes it's honestly just best to stay in your lane. Do your content, do your job. Whatever that may be. Your reactions, commentary, gaming, whatever it is, skits, whatever it is. Learn how to differentiate the two. You cannot be your online persona outside of that and then thinking it is that, you know, you can talk to people however it is that you want to be. You know? You gotta know how to separate those two entities. And you need to know how to stay level-headed within this. Because when the money comes, it comes. It's cool when it happens. Trust me. But you cannot let that dictate you. Because this shit could go very quickly. You know? The content stuff is not promised unless it is you have backup plans. You have other investments, endorsements, or sponsorships or something like that. If not, then you will easily go back to a 9-to-5. Easily. Unless it is that you made it to a point to where it is that you don't have to worry about that no more. You know? Just stay within your lane. Stay grounded. Remember who it is that you are. And if you a cornball nigga, then hey, listen, you just a cornball nigga. I don't know what else to tell you. If you a cornball, you're a cornball.
Funny is that Afro apparently apologized privately to Heavenly in DMs for these comments. I'm kind of mad that he walked back on what he said because he wasn't wrong at all. On August 23rd, 2021, Heavenly dropped a tweet longer of his own titled My Final Statement, where he reiterated all of what he said before, but a little bit more articulated. If he had waited to drop this, who knows how different things would be. To make matters worse, he did the most heavily controller thing you can do before dropping this by changing his profile pic to Naofumi Iwatani, the main character of the anime The Rising of the Shield Hero, who faced false allegations of the same nature from a woman. Not even hating, but this has to be the most glazing shit I have ever seen. The difference is that Naofumi was actually a true victim of false allegations, which he eventually proved. Bro really thinks he's the main character. But as of now, there have been no public legal proceedings against Anthony relating to any of these allegations. But people are saying he's guilty based on these things. Allegations from multiple women, including his ex-girlfriend, supporting the woman who spoke out. Heavenly basically admitted to grabbing Kimmy in an impromptu live stream on the same day, which, like I said, was basically the nail in the coffin. He had to make 2 other videos where he talked in circles trying to defend what he said, but the damage was already done in that live stream, and it was overall a bad move on his part. And then we got the insane allegations against his friend Minikon around that same time of essaying a woman at a...
Wow, I didn't know this. Hey, I see why it is I didn't like dude. Wow. Because I was just about to say, what happened to this? What happened to him? What? I didn't even know. I don't even know about this. What?
At a party where he apparently followed her around. Where Heavenly fits into this situation is him apparently defending Minikon while still having allegations of his own. That made him guilty in the eyes of many. People are saying that Kimmy's allegations are false and have no ground to stand on based on these things. Kimmy was interacting with him on Twitter like a week or so before the allegations, and she said the encounter happened in November of 2019. So this led people to think, why would you still interact with a man who allegedly essayed you? She admitted to Heavenly being a possible rebound if she were to break up with her then boyfriend, who she had relationship issues with, and she even continued a friendly / flirtatious relationship with him just in case. Plus, people said that she was quote unquote leading him on the whole time. Her saying that she was using him as a rebound and flirting doesn't dismiss the fact that Heavenly did not ask for consent when trying to make advances towards her. Consent can always be given and taken away. Simple.
Yes.
And last but not least, nothing has come of these allegations over 3 years later. I'm not saying that this didn't happen, but you got Heavenly claiming that these allegations were proven false when I haven't seen anything at all. Like, the man is out here parading that, you know, he's inevitable, that he lost followers and gained followers. Like, there was no
Nah, this. I got a problem with this. Lost 7K followers after the false allegations and got 9K followers in a month. I am inevitable. Nigga, you're corny. Ain't no way this, like, nah, that's some corny shit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna even lie, gang. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You really think it is that you are a main character? That's a problem. That's real corny.
charges filed for whatever reason, and I guess Kimmy wanted to expose him on her biggest platform, which is Twitter. But in my opinion, based on the accounts of multiple women coming out, including his ex, I think he did whatever these women are accusing him of. I don't apply this logic to every single situation, but one woman speaking up is bad. However, when it gets to be multiple women, depending on the person, it's far past the level of fabrication. You ever heard the phrase, where there's smoke, there's fire? Yeah, they can't all be lying on the anime YouTuber who thinks he's the main character in some hentai heavily fucking controller, bro. Like, come on. Let's be real here, especially with his very questionable digital footprint when it comes to women, like I talked about in great detail earlier. Nowadays, the name Heavenly Controller is pretty much infamous for this entire situation, and it's no question that it's left a stain on his legacy. His fanbase still has some people around who he calls his tribe, comparing them to people in the kingdom.
Amidst my career as an influencer and, you know, all the people that I met and everything like that, at the end of the day, it really comes down to like a handful of people. But at the same time, you know, I needed to go through all of the different quests that I went through to filter the diamonds through the rough, you know what I'm saying? So it was all a necessary process. I was able to find my people, you know? It's beautiful. Find my my tribe. And now that we've got all of our people, we shut the gates, right? There's only ever drama when there is a foreign object, foreigner, like amidst our ranks, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Rants like these are the
Or just call it for what it is. There's only drama when it is you started. Yeah, and they wear orange jumpsuits. You're hilarious. Like, the thing that that will always baffle me is people that just like, oh, I don't do drama, I don't do drama, I don't do drama. Everybody does drama. Even for myself, it is that react. You do drama, okay? You do some form of drama. It's somebody else's drama. Understand it is, you just don't know how to handle things when it becomes your drama. When it becomes a conflict. Not everything conflict turns into drama. A lot of it can be misunderstandings. But call for what it is. Some people just don't know how to handle the situations, have the proper conversations, you know, admit to when it is that they're wrong, put the ego down, put the pride down to where it is you can move forward with the situation. Then it becomes drama. It becomes drama. It becomes all that other shit afterwards. So for you to say that, and you're calling it a tribe, a little questionable wording. Is it questionable wording? But okay.
norm for Heavenly, as he just yaps about any and everything. Just listen to him speak on who his biggest ops or enemies are.
you know the revelation that I came across, actually, Rodney? Because of the person that I am and the lifestyle that I live, you know, a lifestyle surrounded by bad bitches, right? I can't really have other niggas around me. Niggas can't handle being around bad bitches, bro. They don't know how to handle themselves. They don't know.
What? What? I can't even laugh because it is. I'm sick, bro.
They don't know how to carry themselves. They don't know the etiquette. The only kind of men that can be around me and my hoes are either they have to be more sexually fluid, or they have to be really close with me. Otherwise, they're compromised. My biggest op is straight men. You got all these people, they think women are the enemy. The enemy is men this whole time. Because once I removed all the men out of my life, suddenly there was no more issues.
You know, that's crazy as hell. Because normally it is with women, be like, hey, listen, women cause other drama for other women and stuff like that. I ain't never heard of a nigga say, I cut off all niggas and then all my problems was gone. I've never heard that. I've never heard that, Jack. I never heard that. It's just like, you know, I had to cut off all the other niggas because they just didn't know how to handle being with bad bitches. Like, they didn't know how to handle it. What? I normally women say something like that. Normally women be like, oh, I cut those other girls off. They was being messy. They was being like with a lot of drama. Da 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 da. I've heard that. I've never heard a man say that. That's crazy.
Suddenly all the hoes are happy.
Is everyone surprised? Sometime in 2024, Heavenly Controller had his YouTube channel permanently terminated for copyright infringement. So for everyone thinking it has something to do with the allegations, they're completely wrong.
He must identify as a toilet because he's full of shit.
What happened was I would always use copyright-free music in my videos so that they could stay monetized, right? I would a lot of times use anime music in my videos because anime music at the time, anime wasn't as mainstream as it was now. There was a lot of anime music that I was able to use. As it became more mainstream and all these different licenses and stuff like that, like I was already getting, even before it got deleted, I was getting hit by all this shit, like all at once. It was like all at once, all these things like, what it was Disney bought a lot of licenses. Like, and especially they bought the license to Bleach to bring the anime back. And I had Bleach music in a lot of my videos. They were just like, your whole channel's gotta go. And they just took the whole thing down. So I couldn't even dispute it or anything. I didn't get an email or anything. Wow. Yeah, and my channel has been deleted like 5 times. So at this point, I'm like, that was just the final straw for me. I was just like, you know what? I'm over it at that point. Like, because YouTube was already like, YouTube has been dying for years already. So I was already kind of over it.
Heavenly will make another channel after this of the same name where he posts anime reactions and rants. His Twitter and Instagram are filled with some form of provocative or lewd material on top of random yap sessions about inner struggles, relationships, and anime. Like, his whole identity on the internet currently is basically a walking shitpost with getting high attached to it. It's gotten so bad throughout the years that at one point a fan said that he might have a gooning problem because every time he sees him tweet, it's something sexual related. Heavenly says that he makes these posts to spread awareness for mental health and some for engagement.
Like, even like, for example, like on my Instagram, people are like, oh, why is he posting these videos? It doesn't make any sense. But it's just like, I'll post the memes for the engagement, but then I'll also post videos of just like I posted this one video and it was from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And Chloe was saying like, you know, cause like Kim, she's all about the clout and the money and stuff. And Kim Chloe is like, I just want to make memories with my sisters. Like, all this stuff, if this stuff all goes away, and like I can always see, that's the thing too, I now have an eye for it. I can always see who the person is in a group of people or in a who's struggling. Like, you can see like how, like, it's almost like the people who online who are being the most quote unquote fake are the ones who are hiding the most. No matter how strong of a person you are, like I remember before I was a YouTuber, I would watch these YouTubers with millions of subscribers and they would still be like getting stressed out about hate comments. I'm like, why would you care? Like, don't you get these all the time? But it's just like, no matter how successful you are or how often it happens, you're still a human. It still affects your mental health. And yeah, like that's something that, like, even for me, I've had to tell myself as well, because like I like to be like, oh, nothing doesn't faze me, but things do faze me, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I know that, oh, okay, this video is going to have a lot of negative comments, I'm not going to read them. I'm not going to put myself in that situation, you know?
As expected, there are also people who have grown to hate Heavenly over the years for his antics, happy that he quote unquote fell off, which is understandable. He responds to these insults basically saying that he was never quote unquote on to fall off, and that these naysayers would have to be on to have an opinion on him in the first place. As much as he probably hates to admit it, Heavenly Controller is a cautionary tale of what happens when you let fame and money sway you from who you truly are. He came from humble beginnings, building a cult-like following for doing what he loved, only to turn into an egotistical, condescending, predatory hornball with main character syndrome. As someone who wanted to carry on Etica's legacy, you've done an absolutely horrible job. Before I go, I'll leave you with this. You only live one life, so live it in a way that doesn't ruin other lives. Again, I don't want you to think that this is a hate video or whatever, like a lot of people are gonna say. I'm just being brutally honest with as much truth that is publicly available. But that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's Fargo, and I'm out, man.
I appreciate you, Fargo. That's quite the interesting video, so to say. Out here just gooning. You know, but like I said to you beforehand, doing this, please understand, as my voice is cracking, understand this as being a creator. Please do not forget who it is that you are. Before it is you had all of this. And ask yourself this most important question. If you did not have any of this, would you still be able to talk to those same people it is you're talking to as of now? Would you still be able to do the same things it is that you were able to do without having to use the clouded name? Think about that. But Fargo, thank you so much for the video. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to y'all in the chat. Shout outs to you at home. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.